Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here for another one of my little videos using up those things that we wish that we had never bought, or perhaps we used them at the time but now no longer will use them. So I've got some of these things. These are called mini metal stickers. You can probably see, I mean, they're teeny weeny. I mean, actually really cute. I do really like them. Even now I do really like them. But obviously these are not in the junk journal kind of mode really. So whilst I would still use these for something like a mini album for my own, my family kind of things, because I tend to go for a non-vintage, quite bright and colourful look, I obviously wouldn't really use these for junk journals. So, I mean, as you can see, I had pretty much, well, I did have an entire pack here, which I hadn't used. So I've altered a couple that now, hopefully you can see those. Let me just check. I'm filming on my husband's phone, so it's always a bit tricky because the screen is very small and I'm used to filming on my iPad, so I'm never quite sure, what you can see and what you can't, but hopefully you can see those. So they're now much more in keeping with the types of things that I can use in my journals. So I'll just pop those down and I'll show you what I did. It was very simple, very easy. But, I just hate the whole wastage. And so if I can try and reuse things in some form or other, that's great. I just hate having to, do nothing with something. So I'm going to take off the ones that I know that I'm definitely not really going to be using myself. So I'll just move these off. I mean, things like happy and things, I mean, I might use that in, one of my own pieces, like a scrapbook page or something. Let's gather, I probably wouldn't use that. A little goodie, I don't think I'd use that either. So I'll take those off. Now what I did first of all, I got my kind of pokey tool. Now these are on those little, foam dots at the back. I mean, you can buy these in several places. I've had these in my stash for a really long time. I have got some similar ones. If I just dig them out, if I can. Here we go. So these are kind of very similar, but just obviously in slightly different colours. So over the years, obviously I have been drawn to these and I have bought them, a few times. So, I mean, I might come around to actually altering these as well. But I mean, first I'll just do these to kind of show you what I did. So I took my pokey tool. Now these have got this, like, I think these are called epoxy stickers in the middle. Now they are only stickers, so I can just get my pokey tool carefully underneath the sticker and remove the sticker like that. So if I do that for all four, because I might as well do all four of these at the same time. Oops. See that mass making kind of methodology, the efficiency thing is obviously rubbing off, because I'm now, oh look, I actually managed to get the epoxy part off. That hasn't happened in any of the others. I've just pulled the whole sticker off, but that one, the actual, just the clear part came off. And obviously now I won't be able to get the actual sticker off. So whilst at first I thought that was really exciting, it maybe isn't so exciting. Right, here we go. So I've got the sticker off there. Just move those to the side. And then this one. So I mean, oh look, happened again. That was really strange because that hadn't happened before and now it's happened 2 in a row. Right, so that's all of my little pieces off. Now you can take anything that you like to fill in, your pieces here. I mean, to be honest, these are titchy, you can probably see. So something really tiny, you could use kind of scraps of book page, because that's how small these dots are. And all I did was used my, epoxy sticker that I took out as a template, and obviously it kind of sticks onto the paper, so that's really handy for, in terms of cutting it. And then I just cut round I mean, I've used Book Page actually for the two that I've done so far, because that was nice and thin. It's nice and flexible to be able to kind of push it into the metal piece. But I mean, of course, you can use, you know, anything. It doesn't have to be Book Page. I just thought, oh, this is brilliant, because obviously, you know, you only need such a teeny little piece of paper that you literally can just use those edges of the book page. So again, I'm just going to cut round like that. Come on. Okay. And don't worry too much. You know, if they're not looking like they're perfect circles, that's fine. Because, you know, as I always say, we're not looking for perfection here. We are just, we're just making some little embellishments, you know. Don't get too stressed and caught up in how things are looking, whether or not they're straight edges or, you know, in this case, perfect circles. It's all good. So cut around like that, and then I will just do one more, because obviously I've got 4 here. So that's my 4 little, or my three so far, little rounds. I'll just do this one here. Move that out the way. That's it. Go around there. And round here. Come on. I mean, this bit's probably, to be perfectly honest, the most time-consuming part of the entire project. So there we go. Then peel them off like that. Now what you might like to do is obviously ink them up. I mean, I've just taken my vintage photo and inked them all up with that. But of course you can use anything you like. You know, if you wanted some green ones, use a green distress ink. If you want some, you know, blue or pink or anything, you know, I'm just being a bit boring, just using my vintage photo here. So there we go. Right. Then all you're going to do is pop them, oops, wrong glue. Actually, no, I am going to use that glue, because obviously I'm sticking onto the metal, so I want to make sure that I've used a glue, you know, that's definitely going to hold the pieces in. Let me just shake my glue. Okay, come on. Right, so just a little blob on there. Oh my gosh, come on. Great start to this video. Oh, here it comes. Right. So that's the first one. Go to the next one. Next one. And the next one. And then just get your pieces and just kind of squash them in. Press them in then with your finger. And that's where you can then press them right in. And that's where obviously your, you know, any scrappy corners that you didn't quite manage to cut, get my wipe, that you didn't manage to cut into perfect circles, that's where you can then sort of press them in and hide them in your piece. So there we go, like that. That's 2. Next one, press that in like that. I think the man has just arrived. We're finally changing our broadband provider. We've been with BT for years. And to be honest, we were on an okay deal, and then obviously we came off of that deal. So we've been paying, you know, much more than we should have been for the last few months, just because lack of time and things to actually look for a better deal. And it's not just that we've been paying quite a lot of money, but the internet itself has not been very reliable. So fingers crossed we're going to get a better service now, you know, with our new provider. So they've just arrived. My husband's just let them in. I can hear them. So they may come up here, I suspect, to well, I don't really know what they have to do, to be honest. I don't know what's entailed in it, but I guess they'll have to check the TV or something. I don't know. Right, so that's my 4 little dots, as you can see. Now, all I'm going to do is take a book page. So I just take a book page, and weirdly enough, I had torn a book page out when I made my other ones, and now can't actually find it here. Hold on. Right. So I'll just tear out a book page. Now you want obviously something with pretty small font, because these are pretty tiny pieces. So I'm just going to take here, this is a book of dreams. So obviously there's lots of you know, words saying dream. So I'm just going to cut that out. So I might have to stop my video in a minute, was the point of telling you about my internet. So I'll see how far we get, but I may have to actually then stop filming in a minute if they come up here. So just going to glue that down. And to be honest, I should have actually inked that up. I obviously kind of was thrown a bit by the, oh no, they're coming upstairs, panic. Right, so that's that one. If I just find another couple of words, so I'll just put another one saying dream, because again, that's, you know, the main word showing on here. So I'll just cut that. Hold on a second, guys. It was just a question about where the router was going to go, but it's going to move into my son's room. It was downstairs, and I think I've said before, because we've had a loft conversion. Obviously, you know, I mean, I'm up here kind of 2 floors away. You know, I'm up on the like 2nd floor, and the router is like currently on the ground floor. So they're going to put the new router into my son's bedroom, which is on the 1st floor. So hopefully that would be then evenly spread around the entire house. Hopefully. So there we go. And then just, it would be nice to have a different word. Can I find a different word? No. We might just have to have another dream here, but got laughter. I've got quite a lot of nice words on here, but obviously they're then quite long words, and they're not going to actually fit into those tiny little gaps. I tell you what, we're not going to put another word on. What I'm going to do is, as you can see in this one here, I popped a little Martha Stewart butterfly. So now this Martha Stewart punch, I've had this for years and years. In fact, it's my 2nd one, because if I'm truthful, I had one for years and then it eventually broke. And I loved it so much that I did actually buy another one. So that's this one. I don't know whether it's got a name. I don't know what it would be called. But I guess if you just Googled Martha Stewart butterfly punch, pretty sure they don't do them anymore. I don't know whether she sells things anymore, but I'm sure you could probably find one used or something like that from somewhere. But they're lovely punches, because that one, you know, when you punch, you get 2 teeny butterflies and, you know, 1 larger one. And when I say large, I mean they're all pretty tiny, so it's not large by any stretch of the imagination. So if I just take then some of those tiny ones, or two of those tiny ones, so I put them back, and I like to just keep a few of those punched out in my little jar there. And I have done that for years, even through my, you know, my messy, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still messy, but even through my messiest times, I still, you know, I still did always kind of do that. So, right, so I'm just inking up the little edges of that butterfly, and I just pop that on there. So I just use my regular tacky glue, because that's just, you know, gluing paper to paper. So it should be fine. There we go. And then I've got a brown one here, which obviously is quite nice with our vintage things. So again, just then glue that down like that. Okay. So press that one down. And obviously they've still got their foam dots on the back, but I mean, if you didn't want them as raised as that, you could always take the foam dots off. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure that would be fine too. But I quite like them with the foam dots, really. So that's that. And then just take your glossy accents. I mean, I'm just going through glossy accents like anybody's business at the moment. I seem to be using it for every single project, so it probably would have been cheaper to have just binned all the stuff that that I've had for years and don't use anymore, than to be going through endless amounts of glossy accents, but never mind. So again, you can then just kind of ink up over if you want it a bit darker in there, like that. Okay, and then just take your glossy accents. We'll just ink that one actually, because that might have been the one that I didn't ink the dream. I'll do them both as I'm here. Take your glossy accents and just then pop some into your piece. Let's hope I'm not having problems with this glue now. Oh, what is going on with my glue at the moment? There we go, just unclog that. And just blob on, you know, a decent amount. I mean, obviously I have got those epoxy stickers that came off, you know, perfectly. So, I mean, I guess I could have just stuck them back on. But I won't do that because obviously you might not have got yours off in, you know, in one blob. So it's probably better to show the more generic way. There we go. And that's it. So I'm just going to, oops, didn't quite get that to the edge. Let me just get that all the way out. Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to pop those to the side now to dry. And then obviously once they're dried, they're going to dry like this. And then that's once, or that's when you can then go round your metal with something like your StazOn. I mean, you know, this is personal choice. You don't have to. But you may want to just go around your metal with the StazOn to make it look more vintage. I think I had already done it on this one a little bit, actually. So it probably doesn't really need it. So now I've dabbed the whole thing into the StazOn. There we go. So it's getting darker by the second, obviously, now that I've dropped it into there, but never mind. So hopefully you can kind of see those. And then obviously you could just pop them down onto embellishment pieces. You could pop them down, you know, onto tags and what have you. Just a kind of cute little embellishment really for an extra different thing on your journals. I mean, you could, I guess, take your, you know, foam sticker off of the back. If I demonstrate on this one. Your foam sticker off of the back. And then you could probably punch a tiny, tiny hole with your crocodile in there and have that as a charm. I mean, I say that, I'm not sure that I would be able to manage that without then clumsily punching, you know, off the edge. But I'm sure that you probably could, to be honest. And then you could have that dangling from a tag. So, oh, well, let's try that. I'll just peel that foam pad off. Like that. Okay. Now, what I'm probably best off doing is actually marking that, because I'm going to struggle to put that tiny hole in there. Now, this might be one of those situations where I wish I hadn't mentioned it, because obviously it's not going to work, but we'll see. So if I popped the hole kind of here-ish, just depends really whether that hole is as small as I'm thinking. Oh gosh, this is going to be very fiddly to hold. Right. I mean, obviously if you knew you were punching a hole. Oops, where's my piece gone? Yay! If you knew you were punching a hole, you could obviously move your word down I mean, that has worked okay. My word is still intact. You know, I didn't punch through it. It obviously is off a little bit to the side. But, you know, that's fine. I don't think that matters too much. So again, you could then just take your bulb pin and just thread that through like that. And then you've got another charm there to hang onto your tags and your bits and pieces. So yeah, I hope you liked that little project. I mean, it's just a sort of super quick and easy way of using up, you know, some of these other little bits and bobs that, you know, many of you I'm sure probably have, as do I. So, you know, I hope that you enjoyed that and it's given you some inspiration of how to use up some of your things that perhaps you won't otherwise get to use. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks then. Bye.